First, let's start with this case. I, 19-year-old female, usually go with my parents and brother to my grandparents' house for Sunday lunch, along with other family members, including my aunt, 2 uncles, and 4 cousins, 2 male and 2 female. Since I was little, the routine has always been the same. My grandfather cooks because my grandmother is in a wheelchair, and after we eat, the women clean up. This tradition has always bothered me because, as soon as the meal ends, my aunt stands up and says, "Girls, come and help us." While we clear the table and wash the dishes, the men sit and talk, not even bothering to stack their plates or utensils. They simply wait for us to serve them, which feels unfair. Despite my frustration, I've always helped without saying anything to avoid causing a scene. Last week, I sent a message in our family group chat suggesting that the men help clean up on Sunday since they never do. My female cousins and mom supported me. However, when Sunday came, nothing changed. As usual, my aunt called only the women to help. Feeling frustrated, I decided to sit on the couch and announce that I wouldn't lift a finger until the men helped. Unsurprisingly, none of the men moved, and I was left fuming. Later that evening, my cousin, 29-year-old female, called me to say I was rude for refusing to help and leaving the work to the other women. I pointed out that she never criticized her dad or our male cousins for not helping, then ended the call. Now I'm wondering if I overreacted and let my anger get the better of me. Am I wrong for refusing to help until the men contribute? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Of course, the cleaning up needs to happen, and it's not fair for your grandfather who cooked the meal to be left with an unclean kitchen. But it's not women's work, and it bugs me to no end when women perpetuate sexist BS like this. Talk to your grandfather and grandmother, explain to them, see what they say. They need to set the tone here. If you persist in eating their food without clearing up, you will be idiot. So prepare to not come to family meals, or volunteer other help around the house while you're there. But you're absolutely duh. You're not in the wrong for wanting a non-gendered division of labor. You're not in the wrong. This outdated view on things and should be changed within all families. The only people who should be exempt from cleaning are your grandparents. One cooked and the other can't. Everyone should work together to do it all. It'll also be done a lot faster too that way. You're not in the wrong. The only people that shouldn't have to clean up are your grandparents and anyone else who helped prepare the meal. Otherwise, you're all capable of pitching in to clean up after yourselves. Gender shouldn't be a factor. Your family needs to ditch the outdated gender roles. At my family get-togethers, everyone is responsible to clean up their own place setting, so plates, glasses, silverware, etc., and then we all pitch in for the rest of it, men and women. Nobody complains, it gets done quicker, and leaves more time to just enjoy each other's company. Next up, my boyfriend, 3.5 years together, and I have been living together for 1.5 years in an apartment with one roommate. He got his dog, 5 years old, around the time we met, and I adore the dog. I take care of him every morning because my boyfriend doesn't wake up early enough, but both of us leave for the day around 7:30 a.m. I'm in my 3rd semester of a master's program, and my advisor expects a first draft of my thesis in 3 weeks for me to graduate on time in May. I work best in my office, where I have a second monitor and space to spread out my research materials. I also have ADHD and take medication, so I'm most productive in long, uninterrupted blocks of time during the day. Previously, I could adjust my schedule to help with the dog, and my boyfriend's old job was only 15 minutes away, so he could come home at lunch. Sometimes our roommate also let the dog out around 3 p.m. However, since October, my boyfriend started a new job 30 minutes away, and I've been pulling 12-hour days with classes, teaching, grading, and thesis work. This has caused tension about the dog's care. For instance, today, Friday, I planned to work all day in my office, since I had no meetings or classes. As I was leaving, my boyfriend told me I needed to come home during the day to let the dog out. I reminded him that my commute takes 30 minutes each way, a combination of walking and driving, and disrupts the uninterrupted time I need to work. He accused me of avoiding responsibility and said I should help since I had no other obligations. I explained that while I'm happy to help when I can, he shouldn't expect more than I'm able to give right now. Currently, I take the dog out every morning at 7:15 a.m., but that leaves a long gap until our roommate comes home at 3 p.m. While I feel bad about this, I can't afford delays in my thesis timeline. If I don't graduate on time, we'll have to renew our lease, and we may even end up paying for 2 leases if I can't find a job in this city. There are limited options in my field here. I've suggested hiring a dog walker or paying our roommate to take the dog out daily, but my boyfriend is strongly against it, despite recently getting a raise. I suspect he sees this as a test of my commitment to the relationship, though we've both expressed a desire to get married. To make matters worse, I've always wanted a cat and plan to get one after graduating. However, my boyfriend has said I can't get a cat. It feels unfair that he expects me to prioritize caring for his dog while refusing to let me have my own pet. Am I wrong for refusing to come home during the day to care for his dog while trying to finish my thesis? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. That he's expecting you to come home and take care of his dog in the middle of your workday, when you already care for his dog because he doesn't wake up early enough, is a bit of a red flag to me. What would he be doing to ensure the dog was cared for in the mornings without you? He should already be grateful. And you do have an obligation. Your work right now is your education. That's not nothing. If he didn't have a meeting at work, would he have no obligations? Of course not. He's not treating your obligations fairly and is abdicating his responsibility to his dog. I'm sure you love and care for the pup, but at the end of the day, it's up to him to figure out. I'd sit down and have a conversation about it and set firm boundaries. Then stick to them. You're not in the wrong. This is a test? If so, he's failing it. He's not seeing the importance of your thesis. If you have ADHD and have found a system that works for you, stick to it. It's fantastic that you've made it to the final year of your master's. That should be your priority. He can pay a dog walker or the roommate. That cost is minimal compared to an extra year of tuition lost income. I do wonder if he thinks of it as your shared dog. But even so, that wouldn't make it your sole responsibility to handle the dog's daily care. Buckle up, because if you marry this dude, you're going to be responsible for 100% of childcare and responsible for making happen and maintaining anything he wants with no help from him. He needs to start stepping up and taking care of his dog. If you want a cat, get one. Next up, this situation reminds me of the story of the boy who cried wolf. My cousin, who earns significantly more than me and comes from a family that still spoils her, has repeatedly asked me for money despite her privileged position. A while ago, she asked for a small amount, and I sent it without hesitation. However, it quickly became a habit, with her requesting money frequently. Her excuses were often questionable, but since the amounts were small, $20 or $30 at a time, I continued helping her. The last straw came when she asked for $600 to cover her rent, promising to pay me back the following week. The very next day, I saw her Snapchat, where she was dining at a fancy restaurant and bragging about treating her best friend to a $200 meal. I was furious but decided to let it go, assuming she would repay me as promised. She never paid me back, and months have passed. Every time I ask, she comes up with random excuses. For me, $600 is a significant amount that I desperately need. Recently, when I confronted her again, she admitted that she asks me for money because it's easier to get out of me than her parents. At that point, I told her I'd never lend her money again and ended the call abruptly to avoid saying something I'd regret. That was the last time we spoke until last night, when I received a call from an unfamiliar local number. I answered, and it turned out to be a collect call from jail. It was my cousin asking for $1,000 to cover her bond. She didn't explain why she was there or show any emotion, which made me suspicious. I even wondered if it was some sort of scam. Thinking about how she had manipulated me before, I replied, "I'm not that easy to get money out of. Call your rich parents." She called me a rude name and hung up. Now, I'm unsure if she was really in jail or if she's okay, but I can't afford to help her anymore. After being taken advantage of so many times, I decided to stand my ground. Am I wrong for refusing to help? Edit. I feel conflicted because my cousin and I have always been close, and I tend to overthink due to anxiety. I'm also a naturally giving person, so not helping family, even when they've wronged me, feels wrong at times. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. She already owes you over $600, and you know she'll lie to take your money. Never give your cousin another penny again. Even if she needs money for an emergency, your cousin has other people she can ask. And if no one who is a closer family member or friend will give her $1,000, then that's because she's scammed them all too. You're not in the wrong. I have a sibling who begged me for money because she was going to lose it all. The apartment, car, phone insurance, so I lent her money. 2 weeks later, she's posting that she's going to base camp at Mount Everest and traveling all over Europe. She could call me tomorrow telling me she needed $1 for a drink, and I promise you that at the end of that conversation, she would still be thirsty. You're not in the wrong. At this point, you aren't really close or very close to your cousin, but she certainly wants to be close to your money. You might wish to send a group chat or text to your cousin and include her parents. Keep it simple that you were happy to lend her the $600 when she asked to borrow it. But it has been X weeks, and she had promised to repay you as soon as she got her check on X date. As you have bills to pay, you would appreciate her reimbursing you as soon as possible. You'd also like to receive the other dollars she borrowed in various increments from A to B time period. I suspect she will be unhappy if her parents didn't realize she's scamming family members for money, but that is a her problem. Next up, I, 30-year-old female, have known my best friend, 29-year-old female, since high school. She moved out of the country 3 to 4 years ago, but we've stayed in touch, sharing updates about our lives. A few months ago, she mentioned planning a destination wedding. I told her I'd try my best to attend, but couldn't make any promises. I had recently moved and started a new job during a trial period, and flights to her wedding destination would cost my husband and me around $5,000, not including accommodations and other expenses. She said she wanted us there and was gauging interest from friends and family before finalizing the venue. I checked flight prices a few times afterward, but they remained far out of our budget. Recently, I discovered that my favorite childhood band, which I've waited 18 years to see, is holding a concert a few hours away. Excited, my husband and I quickly bought tickets for $100 each, without realizing it would conflict with her wedding date. When I told her about the concert, she revealed that her wedding date had been decided for the same day, and that she was now looking for venues to confirm it. I immediately apologized, explaining that I didn't realize the conflict when I bought the tickets, and that I'd change plans if the band added more dates. However, I also reminded her that I'd told her from the start that I couldn't guarantee attending the wedding due to the cost. Since then, she's been colder in her messages. Or at least, that's how it feels to me. I understand if she's upset, and I feel terrible about the situation. I spoke with a mutual close friend, 30F, who is also uncertain about attending the wedding due to the $3,000 cost of flights from where she lives. She mentioned that she missed another friend's wedding for similar financial reasons. Am I wrong here? Should I sell my concert tickets and try to save for her wedding instead? I feel torn, sad about disappointing her, but also excited about seeing my favorite band. How can I apologize to her again? Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. Your friend is very selfish. If she wants a destination wedding, she should accept from the start that for many reasons, people won't be able to make it. Expecting all potential guests to put their lives on hold while she looks for a venue and selects a date is incredibly self-centered. This may be her dream wedding and destination, but she needs to realize that it's not everyone else's dream to spend their vacation days and lots of money to visit a destination they didn't choose. Enjoy the concert. You're not in the wrong. It's ridiculous to expect people to spend a ton of money to attend your wedding. For those who can afford to blow thousands of dollars just for the airfare alone, not to mention all of the other expenses that come with destination weddings, it's fine. Obviously, it was a mistake to mention the concert, but if you can't spend that amount of money to attend her wedding, she should understand. You're not in the wrong. It's on her to plan a destination wedding. She should expect many people that care about her, to not be able to go due to cost/time, as is the issue with most destination weddings. Also, it sounds like she waited to tell you the date, which is also her fault. You did nothing wrong. If you care about the friendship, tell her simply, "I'm sorry, but we can't afford to spend X amount to go. Anyway, but I do wish you guys the best and would love to see photos of your beautiful wedding." You could even buy and send her a gift as a courtesy, but under no circumstance should you feel obligated to go. A $100 concert is a lot different than $5,000+ to watch someone get married. If she doesn't understand, it is what it is. Some people are just entitled and/or bridezillas. Next up, my sister has been dating her boyfriend, whom I'll call Jack, for over 3 years. I like Jack a lot and have even helped them reconcile during a rough patch. He knows I support their relationship, and we're on very good terms. My sister and I are also very close. We're actually going on a trip together next week. She and Jack live in a different city, about an hour and a half away by car, and since my family also likes him, she usually brings him along when she visits. Now to the situation. My birthday is next week, but since I'll be on the trip with my sister on the actual day, we're celebrating it over the weekend. My sister wants Jack to attend the celebration, but there's a problem. Jack is very afraid of dogs. My family has a border collie, and I, who live a few apartments away, have a mastiff. Usually, when Jack visits, we put the dogs in my apartment to accommodate his fear, and no one minds, including me. However, since it's my birthday, I'd like to have my dog there for the celebration. I told my sister this and suggested that maybe Jack shouldn't come this time. She seemed a bit defensive but didn't say much. I understand that she wants Jack to be included, but I feel like he could visit another weekend next month instead. Am I wrong for wanting to include my dog at my own birthday celebration? I'd appreciate your thoughts. Let's start judging. You're not in the wrong. You didn't give them an ultimatum. You just warned her that there would be dogs there. He is still invited. It's your birthday. You don't need to accommodate anyone. It's not your fault he's afraid of dogs. If your sister stays with him long-term and possibly marries him, then there will need to be accommodations, as this will be a regular thing. Maybe the dogs are there when it is very important to the event, your birthday, your dog, and he can decide to come or not. Other events, no dogs allowed. Seems like it can be worked out. You're not in the wrong. I don't think that you are an idiot. But why is it more important to have your dog at a party than having your future BIL there? I have a dog and I love him, but he is still just a dog. The dog doesn't take part in a party. There could even be too many people for him, or it's too loud. Don't know, but it feels like there is something else going on. I think you are destroying your relationship with your sister and her boyfriend for something not important. Think about that. If you still want your dog at your party, tell them the truth. You are both invited to my party, but I want to be clear that my dog will be there too.